Let me know when you're ready. All right. All right, we'll now call the City Council regular meeting to order for February 24th, 6 p.m. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Invocation given by Councilwoman Brittany McGuire.
Pray with me. Heavenly Father, first we want to thank you and give you praise, Lord, for this evening. We thank you for your protection today and for your good health. Lord, I'm asking you to take control of this meeting this evening. One of us, the wisdom that we need, the discernment that we need, Lord, as we go through each agenda item. I'm asking you to direct this meeting and protect us throughout the rest of this week. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God.
One second. And how.
Hey, be seated.
Councilmember McGuire?
Here.
Councilmember McCure?
Here.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Here.
Mayor Anderson?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, item number 5. This will be Flood Safety Awareness Week proclamation. All right. Whereas the city of Avon Park has experienced severe weather in the past in the form of extreme rainfall or tropical system events resulting in flooding, and this flooding has caused damage and flood losses to homes and buildings in all areas, whether they are high risk, special flood hazard areas, or low to moderate risk flood zones. And whereas the city of Avon Park is a voluntary participant in the National Flood Insurance Program that provides residents with the opportunity to protect themselves against flood loss through the purchase of flood insurance at reduced insurance premium rates, as well as setting higher regulatory standards to reduce the flood risk and potential flood damage to their property. And whereas the reduction of loss of life and property damage can be achieved when appropriate flood preparedness, control, and mitigation measures are taken before a flood. And whereas public education and awareness of the potential weather hazards and methods of protection are critical to the health, safety, and welfare of residents, the Florida Floodplain Managers Association, FFMA, have declared the week of March 3rd through the 9th, 2025 as Flood Awareness Week to promote the awareness and increase knowledge of flood risk, the availability of flood insurance, flood protection methods, and how to prepare for emergencies. Now, therefore, we, the city of Avon Park, in coordination with the Highlands County, do hereby proclaim March 3rd through 9th, 2025 as Flood Awareness Week in the city of Avon Park, and further encourage the citizens of Avon Park to increase their knowledge of how to protect themselves and their property from flooding. Thank you very much. All right, item number 6 through 9. This will be for the consent agenda. Does any council member wish to remove any of those?
I'd like to remove consent agenda number 9.
Number 9, 6 through 8.
And
Come
C through 8, I'll make a motion to approve.
All right. We have a motion to approve items 6 through 8.
Second.
We have a second. Let's call for questions. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire?
Yes.
Councilmember McCure?
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Item number 9. Did you have a question?
I'd like to have Dr. Kelly just go over her utility billing update, since we have a lot of people in the audience that are here because of their water bills.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. So in the packet, you will see the rolling up updates, and this is a perfect example of why I wanted to start this staff report. We do have problems with the utility billing. I have been identifying those for weeks now. As of February 20th, 2025, I have identified certain problems, and I think if we're going to tackle fixing this utility billing problem, we need to define it first. So we have done that. You will see here that we have 8,589 active accounts, but there's only 8,496 meters in the system. We have staff researching that. Utility billing is broken down into 4 routes. Ideally, every Monday, one of the routes meters are read, and then they're uploaded to the system. They're calculated and the bills are sent out by Friday. That has not been happening for the past 6 months. You can see here in the matrix that I provided in the report, route number 30, the meter was read January 9th of this year. The bill date went out 2/7. Route 90 was read on 1/28. The bill went out 2/14. Route 10 was was read on 2/3. It went out on 2/19. Route 30 again was read on 2/6. It went out 2/18. Route 74 was read on 2/11. I have here that it was no later than 2/21. It should go out. And then Route 90, I have an update for today, was read 2/19 and it should go out no later than 2/26. As of the reading of Route 74, we are back on schedule, so you won't have that not knowing when your bill is going to come. It's going to be regular like it used to be. If you are on Invoice Cloud and pay automatically, though there's 2 bills that are due for certain cycles, you're not going to have both amounts taken out at the same time. Invoice Cloud is set up so that it will only take out the amount that is actually due on that date. Of the 8,496 meters we have replaced 2,438 since FY 2021. In the report here, it says that there are 2,013 outstanding work orders. As of today, there's 1,921. Some of those are going out and reading the meters, and code enforcement is helping with that task. Some are replacing meters. Since FY 2021, we've spent $686,000 on buying new meters. No meters were bought in 23-24 because there was a backlog in even ordering them. This fiscal year, we've budgeted $250,000 to replace meters. There are numerous accounts that have no meter readings because the meters are bad and just a basic minimal bill is sent out to the customers. We have requested BSNA, our software program, to create a custom report to figure out how many accounts that is. At this point, our best guess is 600 to 800 accounts that are just getting a minimal bill. So as you can see, that's revenue that the city is losing each month. Adjustments continue to be made to the Route 74 because the new utility rates that were implemented on November 1st were actually back billed to when that billing cycle started sometime in October. So of the 2,770 customers that were billed incorrectly, the report says 560 have been adjusted. That was as of Thursday. As of today, 1,596 of those customers have been adjusted. We did have a new utility billing clerk beginning the department on the 17th, and we have also been able to backfill the utility billing supervisor's position. And that concludes my report.
So are you doing an electric read or is it a physical read?
It's both. So the reader is in the utility meter reader's vehicle. They drive the route through telemetry. It picks up the meter read. If it doesn't pick up, it's flagged in the system. And that's when these requests to go out and reread the meter are generated.
Okay. And do you still have the late fees on hold until we can get all this worked out? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And we've also turned off the past due notice because I know people are getting past due notices.
'cause I got
and
one
it's
today.
aggravating. So we've turned that off in the system as well.
And Dr. Kelly, I have a question. When do you expect for us to have all this completed? When I say completed, I'm talking about the double charge that we've done to our customers and the research and correcting the error? When, what
Mhm.
month do we expect that to be corrected?
Well, the route billing is on schedule, so that should alleviate a lot of the problem. As far as wading through the 1,921 work orders, I cannot begin to guess how long that would take. Obviously, the priority would be if there's potential leaks to get out to those houses and double check that it's not the meter, or if it is the meter, to have it replaced.
I guess, Dr. Kelly, the reason why I'm asking, because I think it may be the third meeting where we're gonna have complaints. And so I would have thought maybe there was something to be said to them to give us a minute. We working on it, and give us to this time that we should have it all fixed.
Do you have a guess?
we're not going to be able to identify all the meters in a short period of time. This has been going on for several years, so it's going to take a minute. I'm going to say probably 6 months to identify all the meters.
Okay.
And that's not replacing them, it's just identifying them.
And it may even go beyond that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, I have a question then. So obviously we're having meter issues. It's going to take a long time. What about the software issues?
The software issues, I think it was a learning curve for staff. So we are now got the billing down, and we have training on March 10th for several of the staff members in utility billing for a day to learn the utility billing side of the software.
So we still may have a couple more months with that issue.
The billing should be fine going forward. I mean, we're reading on time. It was just getting the bills out in time, because you have to review them and make sure that the information is correct. And that takes a few days to do that.
So why did, I'm old and it's already gone.
Well, while you're thinking about it, we do have 3 signups that talk about utility bills. You want to go ahead and take those now since we're on the subject?
That's completely up to you.
All right, well, let's go ahead and do that. First is Lisa Bishop. Uh-oh, if you will, just give your name and address in that microphone before you
My
begin.
name is Lisa Bishop. I live at 109 South Florida Avenue,
Yes, ma'am.
and I live in one of the lower income sections of Avon Park, but I love this little town. But I'm not happy with $100 water bill.
Okay.
2 people in the home, no irrigation, no swimming pool. We shower, we cook, we do laundry. My water bill has increased almost $20 per month since November. And I will end this by saying I would know I had leaks because I'm an office manager for a plumbing company. So I know plumbing very well.
Fair enough.
So, I mean, something has to be addressed. There's either, and as far as the meters reading, I went out and looked at my meter. I didn't tamper with it, but it was coated with dirt
Right.
and cobwebs and weeds. They're not being maintained to even be read properly by GPS or however.
I'm assuming that you've reported this to city staff at some point.
I sent, this kind lady right here was the only one. I didn't get a response from Christie. Ms. McGuire answered me. She
Okay.
had the young lady who does the billing and utilities call me, but still, there's got to be an explanation.
And how long ago was that, do you think?
How long ago did I reach out to them? Just last week.
Yeah.
Okay. Got
Yes,
it.
as soon as I received my utility bill. And I'm not here to speak for another neighbor, but my other neighbor behind me, hers was even more outrageous. I mean, we live on a fixed income.
Sure.
That's extra money that we could get at my age and my husband's age, medication filled.
Sure.
All got to have water. That's something you got to have in life.
Right.
And there's something wrong with the system.
Well, my reason for asking you those questions was that obviously we're trying to make sure that the meters are being read correctly and that the numbers are actually coming back to the city correctly so they can be billed correctly. So does staff know if this particular one has been manually read yet?
I do not, but if you can give me your account number, I can check it and call you
I
tomorrow.
have it on some paperwork, but I was gonna add two. I have two meters. The
Mhm.
old one out closer to the right of way. I don't know if it even is functioning.
Hmm.
And then we have the other meter that's up closer to our sidewalk.
One
a
could
year-
be for irrigation.
I beg your pardon?
One could be for irrigation and one for your actual house.
I'm not sure because we don't have an irrigation system.
Mhm.
But a year or so ago, I got one that was about $140. And I was told that I said, I want somebody to come out and investigate. And I was told, and these people are no longer there, and I shouldn't even be rehashing this. But I was told that they already had investigated it because my water bill was higher than normal.
Mhm.
And you know, all I'm asking for is transparency.
Sure.
We all love this town, but we all live on a fixed income, the majority of us. And something needs to be done.
Okay.
And, you know, I don't even know what billing route I'm on. I noticed on my bill, it was stamped twice that there was going to be a water increase pending city council approval. We were never notified. If we can get 2 emails of your invoices due to be paid and a hard copy in the mail, then shouldn't we be notified when there's going to definitely be an increase? Something separate?
Mhm.
We deserve that as citizens. And I just think that something needs to be more in-depth investigated about these high utility bills.
Your account is set to the 109 South Florida Avenue address.
Yes, and
Okay.
it's under my name.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
No
Yes,
problem.
ma'am.
So whenever you have a client, a customer, a resident that calls in that complains about their bill, what is the reply that's given to them? Because I've had some people ask me, how can all these people have leaks all of a sudden?
Well, it's not.
I mean, yes, people have told me, they tell me I have a leak. And then the next person I hear, I see it on social media, it's a leak.
So
Everybody can't have a leak all at one time.
no, that's correct. And I think that has to do with the meter readings. So that's why we're diving in to see if those are reading correctly or not. And the girls at the front are now being trained. When somebody calls in, you have to research inside the customer's account, look at work orders, don't just give a blanket explanation.
Okay.
We've got a-
And the one other question, whenever you say that you're going to be trained this March, this coming up,
Mhm.
who's training? Is that a BSNA
Yes.
representative?
Mhm.
Okay, and
Yes.
didn't they already do that?
They did train the utility billing staff, but most of them are not there anymore.
Okay, so they're
Mhm.
coming back in to do a new training for the new staff.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what we'll do is we'll have a route ready to bill and we'll walk through the whole billing with them to see if we're doing it the way,
Okay.
that I think seems to be working right now. So
Is that going to be like on a Saturday?
no, it's on, it's the 10th, I think. I don't know
Monday?
what,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we've got 2 more signups here. Next one is at address 806 West Pleasant Street. Didn't want to butcher your name there. If you could just give your name and address for the record.
Miguel Romero, 806 West Pleasant Street, Avon Park, Florida, 33825.
Yes, sir.
Same problem with the bills and all. We're not getting notified. No communication is being brought to our attention. No letters or anything about increases in the water bill, just only saying that you've approved and keep on the bill, but nothing's been read to us. I've also gone to the office today with only that, because only the bill came out to $327, which never has gone past that, only to $75 a month. So you can see the big increase that we've had.
Right.
Went to the office today. They said that, it was double billed, that the system was behind. We never was notified that saying that anything was behind. Then all of a sudden they told us it was going to be 152. Then standing there for a while, I think they took it to the, I guess the head person, and it brought it down to 65, which I was like, well, why do I have to come up here? Or my girlfriend has to call and we try and get the runaround. Nobody wants to answer the phones. Every time we try to call, it's always going to voicemail. Nobody answers the voicemails. Nobody gets a call back to us. We don't get nothing. And my standpoint is that I usually, if this happens, we've already had a meter tested to see if there's any leaks. I have documentation from the office because I asked for it, because I asked for everything. If it's documented, I need to know.
Mhm.
And just like with the meter, I don't know if it was also included that I don't know if they ever told anybody to check the meter is going to be another $30. So I don't know if that's going to be added on to what I have to do to make sure that I don't have a leak or the meter's the problem. So I don't know if I'm going to be charged the extra $30.
Do you know the policy on the leak testing?
Yeah, so it is a $30 charge if we come out and it's not on our side. If it's on your side or there's nothing wrong with the meter, there it is normally a $30 charge. But during this process of getting the bills caught up and checking the meters, that fee will be waived.
So is your water account set up to that address that I read off?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So obviously we'll request that it have manual readings and make sure that everything's
And
as
also,
accurate as we can.
and also some documentation showing that it has been checked and all, because I would like to have that on hand just for,
Yeah.
personal purposes.
So whenever the readings are done, whether they be manual or electronic, is that something that people can request to see or?
Yeah, so in the past, there's actually a box that you can check if it's estimated, automated
Mhm.
read, manual read. They're all automated right now, but in the last 2 months, we've been changing it to either manual read or estimated read.
Okay.
So we can pull that information just for the last couple of months.
Okay. So you will be able to pull the numbers that we have on file.
Mhm.
You'll at least get to see if they're manual versus automated.
Well, just being a resident of Avon Park, I just want to make sure that I'm included in the conversation and communication
Sure.
with the city. That way I know everything's going on. And like I said, documentation too, that just in case anything has to go further.
Yeah, the main thing I would tell you is just make sure that you do report that there's a inaccuracy in your bill, or at least you think there is, and that way they flag it. If you don't report it, then nothing's ever going to happen. So everybody that does have a billing problem needs to report it.
I do,
For sure.
I do that all the time, especially with code enforcement too. If there's any problems that I have, I usually code them to them. And I'll always ask questions too as well with fencing and all. So if I'm
Perfect.
doing that, I'm going to be doing the same thing with the water bills too as well.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. We have Joseph Cubero. If you could just give your name and address in the microphone there.
My name is Joseph Guerrero. I live at 212 South Stanford Loop, unfortunately.
Yes, sir.
It's county property.
Okay.
But we got your water.
Hmm.
I've been around here for a long time. I don't know any of you people. I don't know where you come from. I don't care. All I care is this situation of the water needs to be straightened out.
Okay.
I have never seen getting 2 bills in 1 month. Now, let me explain something to you. I'm not gonna sit here and find out who the new guy is that came in, or the guy that resigned because he didn't like it, or because he couldn't have it, or the guy that got fired. That's not my problem. My problem is we need to have a computer system that if somebody is willing to come to my place, I will show, I read the meter every month. Nobody can tell me if it's liters, if it's gallons,
Gallons.
but I know I'm not an elephant. I live alone. I don't have any irrigation system. I collect rainwater for many of the things that I do.
Okay.
And still, I think this water system is a little bit high for the consumption. It should be whatever you consume, and like in my bill from West Palm Beach, Miami-Dade County, Los Angeles County, whatever. Last month, this is the number. This month, this is the number. You consume
Mhm.
500 gallons, 600 gallons. Now, I'm one of the fellows that helped build the apartment building for Mr. John McClellan. I don't know if you know him. Bless his soul. I came here about 1990s. I helped build those buildings. We put meters on every apartment.
Mhm.
It now belongs to this fellow that I had problems with him that owns Lemon Tree, and he bought Mr. McClellan when he went bankrupt.
Mhm.
I could tell you stories that you probably don't know. We put meters. I measure myself every month. I never consumed more than maybe 700 gallons. And that was in the summer, when I did a lot of work and maybe I took a couple of extra showers. Why is it that we can't have numbers to tell them? Whoever reads my bills, no consumption, no consumption, then on the third month, it changes the number. What's the number? I don't know what the number is. We need to be clear as to how many gallons per month. It takes a computer, maybe. It takes a different reading, maybe. I have a fellow around here that I know that wants to sell meters to the city and other cities and have them through the GPS. I had a conversation with him. I'm not gonna mention his name. I'm sure you know who I'm referring to. I'm a retired bum. I spent 32 years in the military. I think I know something about managing resources.
Sure.
I think I know about, avoiding certain things and excusing certain things. But I spent 32 years learning. If anybody is willing to come to my place, like willing to come in, they're welcome. I'll show them my place and explain in detail. But again, I don't know any of you and I don't care because even though I live in the county, I don't go to the commission meetings anymore. I have my issues with them personally. Okay? You people do whatever you want. But when people tell me you're not supposed to talk, there is an old Roman saying when you study Roman law, and I studied law at Columbia University in the 60s. Unfortunately, the government of the United States betrayed me. And they went back on their promise when I joined the Air Force. So I'm not an officer because I refuse to be an officer. But there is such a thing as the statement in Roman law that says, we take a consentire, which means if you keep quiet, you're allowing whatever happens to happen and you don't have a say so. This is the only reason that I appear here, even though I live in Avon Park, I don't belong legally to the city, legally. But as a human being, I live here.
Okay.
And I try to help. I talk to many people and I say, the famous word from many people is, there's nothing we can do, why waste our time? This has to change.
That's 5
We are
minutes.
beating the people into some kind of mental submission, which categorically speaking is wrong.
Sure.
We need to fix this problem. I won't take no more of your time.
Yeah.
But if somebody wants to talk to me and discuss with me what I think could be done, they can come by my place.
Sure.
I'm not gonna come to this city building.
Okay.
I came this morning to try to see who the new manager was and talk to him. The door is locked. And then if you try to do somebody,
Right.
they're busy.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going home.
All right.
Forget about it.
Well,
In my next letter to the governor, which I happen to know personally.
that's your time, sir. We'll have to. Yeah, I understand. I just want to make sure that they do have your address so they can look at your water bill. You have it down there? Okay, perfect. All right. So they will look at it.
I think there are ways to fix the problem.
Okay.
But we need to sit down and discuss it and have the time.
I understand. We have to be fair to everybody on the time here. So appreciate it. All right. Is there any other questions or comments on the water bills?
Yes, sir. This gentleman right here would like to
Okay.
come
You-
to
yes,
the
sir.
podium.
I'm assuming the one standing up, right? Maybe not.
Make sure you.
We can just
say
get your name and address in the microphone there.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Rowe. Address is 24A Miracle Avenue.
Yes,
It's here in Avon Park. We also own 24 West Raymond.
Mhm.
And I understand the leakage thing. I don't see how everyone in Avon Park can all of a sudden have a leakage.
They don't.
And last year, they said we had a leak at one of my daughter's apartments.
Mhm.
$300 water bill, a leak. 2 months later, we have the guy come out. 2 months later, the bill's gone back down, but there's no leak. 2 people live in that house, an adult and a 3-month-old. How does your water bill end up $300 a month? Our water bill a couple months ago was $60. This month is 170.
Yeah, 107 or 170.
170.
Okay.
Received 2 water bills. Every month, like the previous lady, our bill has went up continuously every single month. This is not something that's been identified the last couple of weeks. It's been an ongoing issue for a couple of years. We may not want to accept that, but it has been. And like the gentleman before said, when you go up there and you make a complaint, there's really nothing we can do. We talked to a couple of people in the office the other day. You can go to the meeting. It probably won't help anything.
Well,
Why are we wasting our time here? That come from one of y'all's representatives, 2 of them to be exact. So if they feel that way, how do you think we feel? We live here every day. It's price gouging. It's theft. What's the definition of theft? That's what it is. Our own city is doing this to us and nobody will stand up for us. We vote everybody in. We take our time. We vote these people in. Who helps us? Right or wrong?
well, I would say you're wrong. I mean, I would say everybody up here is trying to help, actually. I mean, there's a lot of people that's been coming complaining about the bills, and we didn't know about it until people come forward. So every single person that has come forward, their bill will be addressed the best way that we possibly can.
How about those people that's not coming forward that has automatic withdrawal like we had at one point?
They
don't
should.
know it.
Obviously,
Don't pay
they
attention
should.
to that.
They should. If you have an issue, you should come report it, obviously.
But if they're not doing anything about it, why report it?
They will. They are. They actively are. They had a whole readout over the stuff they've done so far, but there's going to be more to be done.
When we went up there the other day to fix our bill, the lady in front of us, the bill was $300.
Mhm.
When she left, she paid $64. How does that happen?
Couldn't tell you.
But if she hadn't came up there, that lady that's on a fixed income
Right.
every month that lives off Social Security, what would she have done?
Right.
They're barely making it as it is. And we're continuing to take from those people.
Okay.
Okay.
Melody, or Dr. Kelly, or whoever wants to answer this question. When they do encounter a very large bill like that, and just say for whatever reason it actually does stick and they owe that, but they can't afford it, we're not doing cutoffs on them, are we?
No, we haven't done cutoffs in probably 8 months, to
Okay,
be honest with you.
okay.
And if they have a leak or they have a high bill, we have a payment plan that they can sign up for.
All right. We'll have to keep the chatter down in the audience there. Any other questions?
No.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak on the utility bill issue? All right. Seeing nothing else, we will move on to item number 10. This will be a preliminary subdivision plat review. Looks like we have Jeff with us.
Good evening, council. Jeff Schmucker with the Central Florida Regional Planning Council. Okay, looks like the presentation is coming up. We just have a real brief presentation on this. I'll explain, but I do want to just have a little background for the folks in the audience, for the council as well. Just, you know, the subdivision platting process. I'll go through that very quickly, just so we know where we are in the process. But this is a request by Shareco Incorporated requesting preliminary subdivision plat. This is for a subdivision for 13 lots. What you see in the map here, this is the property. It encompasses 3 parcels today, about 8.19 acres, generally located south or between Palmer and Seminole Avenues on the south side of East Green Street, on the north side of Lake Lutila Avenue. Next slide. Just real briefly, just subdivision process. Most of you probably know this, but just so you know where we are in the process on this and how this is going to move forward, as we probably will see a number of these coming forward in the next several months, several years. We're in the preliminary subdivision plat process right now. So this is essentially a review of the concept of the layout of the lots, the roadways, the utilities, where everything is going to be set for eventually subdividing this larger property into smaller lots. Most folks are familiar with that process, but it's essentially the concept of it at this point, which if it gets approved, we'll move into the second phase, which is construction and improvement. That would be then the city's review of the actual infrastructure. So the roadways, the utilities that have to go into the ground. Once that's reviewed, approved, gives the applicant the opportunity to go out there and construct all of those improvements. Once that's done, that would move essentially into the third phase, which would then come back to the city for final subdivision plat. And that gives the green light for the applicant to file this with the clerk's office and then sell those lots for someone to, excuse me, to build a house or sell that lot in the future. So it's a really high overview of this, but just wanted to kind of give that background briefly, just so everyone's aware of where we are in the process. Next slide. So just for this property, just briefly, the property's got future land use of low density with a zoning of R1AA. That allows up to 3 dwelling units per acre. For the 13 lots that the applicant is requesting, that's resulting in 1.6 dwelling units per acre. So they're underneath that 3. Just listing here the R1AA zoning district standards, which requires lot widths of 85 feet in areas of 12,000 square feet. We'll see in a minute why that's important, just to let you know what that standard is under this zoning. Next slide. So what you see here, this is the preliminary subdivision plat. We've annotated it just for ease of presentation tonight. But in red, you see the 13 lots. Lots 1 through 7, those, as this moves forward, will all have access via South Palmer and East Green Street. Lots 8 through 13, those will be accessed now by new roadway, new utilities as they come down Seminole Avenue and into the site. And then also in the middle of the site, you'll see some notation there, SWP. Those are stormwater improvement ponds, as well as drainage and utility swales, which everything here meets the city's land development code. One thing that we wanted to notice is on the southwest of the site, there's some lots that are not part of this plat. They sit on the south side of lot 7. Those lots there are currently accessed by an easement right now. As part of this process, the owner will be dedicating that. I don't know how many are familiar with that area, but this had gone through a lot of iterations for access of those properties down there. As part of this plat, we're going to try to clean that up. The owner has agreed to dedicate a private right-of-way, which will serve access for those lots that are on that south side of lot 7 there. And additionally, it's going to clean up the city's access to utilities that run through that area. But we just wanted to make sure that that's out on the record and it's understood how that area is moving forward. Ultimately, everything here meets the city's land development code, and we're looking for your consideration on this night. So any questions, we'll stand to answer those.
Any questions for Jeff?
Mr. Jeff, I have a question for you. I heard you say that, I think you said on the south side, there was an easement for the right of way for those homes in a particular lot. A couple of months ago, I know the family was having a problem with that easement. So you tell me that's been worked out?
So so right now there's a 25-foot easement that runs through there, and there's, I think, one property owner owns maybe several of those properties, and there might be another one that's under separate ownership. But that easement that was there, which was granted, I believe, by the city council through a resolution to establish that easement for that access, that is going to go away as part of this plat. So essentially, you're going to have right of way there now. So it won't be an easement across private property. That easement right now sits across that southern part of lot 7, if you see there. That's going to go away. And now you're going to have essentially a roadway, just like South Palmer, East Green, but it'll be kept private. And the owners of those lots on the south side, they'll be responsible to maintain that. It's going to be a private road right away.
Councilmember Taylor, I've worked with the Sanders and the owner of this property to negotiate that private road for them. They have been made aware of it and they are very happy with it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, any further questions? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve D10 for the preliminary subdivision plat review.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Last call for questions. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember McCure,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Jeff, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, item number 11. This will be an event request for the first annual Hispanic Heritage Festival. Miss Sarah Pipel. Come up and give your name and organization on the microphone there.
Hi, Sarah Pipel, the Pipel Group, 100 East Main Street.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm asking permission to hold the inaugural Spanish Heritage Festival. There hasn't been one really big festival. It's in Highlands County for a very long time. September is Spanish Heritage Month, and we would like to hold it on September 27th. We are asking to close the roads from, I believe, Verona to just past City Hall and Donaldson Park. We're going to have a stage on one end. We're going to have music. We're going to have different food trucks. We're going to try and represent every ethnic group within the Spanish community. We're going to have piñatas in the park. We're going to have a whole bunch of other events, including music, bilingual DJ, a band, and entertainers.
Okay.
And I've held events of this magnitude before. Lake Placid, the events that I hold there usually bring in 6,000 to 7,000 people. Members from this community have come to those events. So we're expecting approximately 10,000 people to this event, which will be beneficial to the local businesses.
10,000. Wow.
Well, if a Halloween block party brings in 7,000, I'm sure Spanish Heritage Festival is going to bring in more than that.
Okay. Well, I guess the question comes into, from the staff perspective of, do we have adequate closures and all the things that we need in place to handle that kind of crowd? Think so?
Yes.
All right. Any questions from council?
Ms. Piper, I have it, you said from Verona to the City Hall?
Just past the City Hall. What's the street? Past
Delaney,
correct.
okay.
I didn't bring the map with me. So
And that's just Main Street?
Main Street and Donaldson Park.
No, I mean, that's the only street though?
Yes, that's the only street
Right.
closure. I'm not asking for any of the side streets or anything. And on the Verona side, we have a very large stage that actually blocks it. So we wouldn't have to worry too much on that side. And the stage is going to be facing going towards, let's say, City Hall. And then on the other side, that's where we would need the barricades. On the side.
And Ms. Piper, you're gonna have them all up and down Main Street, right? You just want that blocked out?
Yes, we just want that blocked off. And then as long as that is blocked off, I don't think there's any other intersecting streets from that. I'm trying to avoid blocking off the entire Main Street. I'm trying to keep the businesses open. So the crowds, as they come and go, I'm going to reach out to all the business owners on Main Street to see if they want to participate by, decorating the outside of their stores, maybe giving discounts to the people that come to that event that day to bring them in their stores, because people are going to be parking through the public parking lots. And I know in Lake Placid, when we block off Interlake, they park as far down as the college. They use the college parking lot for that event. So that way, I didn't want to block the businesses from their normal commerce during the day. Because it's going to be during the day from 11, I believe, to about 5:30.
Okay. Any other questions? Does anybody have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve D11 for the first annual Hispanic Heritage Festival.
And I'll be happy to second that.
We have a motion and a second. Last call for questions. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember McCure,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Pipel, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 12, this would be an event request, 4th of July fireworks. Chrissy.
Candace Anderson, 157 Wester Avenue, Avon Park. On behalf of Parkview Prep Academy, I'm just requesting to be able to host the 4th of July fireworks again this year, just like we did last year. Everything is the same. Same road closures, same
Okay.
everything.
Any questions?
I have a comment. I think that we've been given the same amount, as far as I can remember, for ever a day of $5,000. And I think that I know that overall costs continue to grow. And I think that this is one of the greatest events that the city has. And it usually lasts close to 30 minutes. And I know that costs more money for everybody that puts it on, as well as trying to keep up the same amount of time work that I think everybody comes in the community comes out to the fireworks. I see that it looks like we actually have a couple $1,000s left in there. So not only do I would like to make a motion that we go ahead and increase that, but I think that's something that I would like to look at our next budget meeting for the following year. I think that I think Avon Park deserves to have the biggest and the best firework display in the county, and I think we can afford to do it. And I think it would make the citizens of Avon Park proud. So the one question I have on here, it shows that there's possibly, is there $8,000 balance or $7,000 balance in there?
It's 7,000.
Okay, so is there any reason why we could not increase that 5,000 this year to 7,000?
No, sir.
Do I need to make a motion for that?
Yeah, you have to make.
I'd like to make a motion that the city increase its payment to pay its fair share of the 4th of July fireworks from $5,000 to $7,000 this year.
So are you approving the event with the addition
Yeah.
from 5,000, 7,000?
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's the motion. Is there a second to the motion?
Well, I don't want to second it because I have a question, but
So
you
that's,
know, we can't
okay.
talk about it until, so I'll second it just for discussion.
Okay, what's your question?
How much does this whole event that you throw on cost?
Just for the fireworks alone is somewhere between 15 and 16,000 roughly.
And I'm just curious, how come nobody else has ever come forward? Do you ever ask to partner with other events, other vendor or other people throughout the community, like the
Yes.
Battle of the Bands, or I don't know, some of the others, to see if maybe they would like to partner?
So the JCs did it for a long, long time, probably 2 or 3 decades.
Yes, they did.
And then I think 2 years ago,
Yeah, this will be our third, I believe.
yeah, so 2 or 3 years ago, the JCs basically came here and said that they didn't want to do it anymore and that they were trying to find someone else to do it. And Parkview stepped up and said, we will do it. And city normally contributes $5,000. So they've contributed somewhere between $10,000 and $12,000 every single year of their own.
So would you be open to having someone else be a partner with you?
It would definitely be something that I would have to consider and discuss with my business partner.
Because I
as well.
know that there is a lot, I know there's another group that wanted to participate in this. I don't understand why they haven't put their paperwork in. Maybe they just didn't know it was time. I don't know, but I know that they would like to partner.
They would like to help pay for it, or they want to do like
No,
an
they would like
event.
to partner and probably be able to help absorb some of the costs.
Yeah. I know one person had reached out a couple of years ago, not really wanting to pay for the event. They just wanted to add to it. And I'm like, you guys can add whatever you want. I'm not really interested in taking on any more, than just simply providing the fireworks portion of it. I feel like that's kind of all I can handle.
Well, I do know that last year there was a piggyback event on this that happened on Main Street.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it almost made it look like they were the ones that was sponsoring it and not Parkview.
Yeah, they asked if they could add our name to their banners and all of that kind of stuff.
And that was okay with you for them to do that?
Yeah, she reached out to me and I said, you can add our name. She said fireworks are provided by Parkview Prep Academy. And I said that. She even sent me the design work ahead of time and I approved it. And But just so that they had the understanding, I didn't want to have anything to do with the other part. I didn't want to have any responsibility or liability or anything like that with that. I just simply wanted to take care of the fireworks portion of it. So I absolutely said, yes, go ahead. Anybody who wants to do anything for the city, I don't care.
I understand, but I would
Yeah.
I'd like to see more than just, I'd like for it to be a community event, not just necessarily one entity.
I think it is a community event. I think you're barking up the wrong tree there, buddy.
No, community event where there's more than just.
Anybody that
one
wants to
sponsor.
donate money to the city, that's a good thing. So
Yeah.
let's keep that up. All right. So we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Seeing none, we will call the roll.
Yes, sir. Councilmember McGuire,
I will abstain due to my relationship with the business.
Councilmember McCure,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
No.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
I will abstain. That's my sister. Okay, so that failed. Is there any second up motion?
Is it doesn't pass because we abstained? It still doesn't.
That's correct.
It's a vote of
Yeah.
2-1.
Correct.
So it passes.
The abstention votes don't count in any way.
They count as 0.
So it
But
passed.
then it passed.
It passed 2-1.
Shelley and Jim said yes, and Bernice
You
said
said-
no.
Oh, I thought you said-
Review the roll call if you'd like.
okay.
Councilmember McGuire abstained. Councilmember McCure said yes. Councilmember Taylor said nay. Deputy Mayor Bernard said yay. Mayor Anderson abstained.
Okay. Got it. Well, thank you very much.
It passed 2-1.
Correct.
Thank you.
I do just want to notate if we do keep records of the invoices. I heard members of the public saying they wanted to see copies of that. Just serve me with a public records request. I'd be happy to get that to you.
Okay, item number 13, this will be an event request for the Blueberry Festival, Ms. Camel Long.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm here representing the Rotary Club of Avon Park. So Kamala Long, 20 South Verona Avenue, Avon Park. It's 14th annual Blueberry Festival. It's a plug and play. The Rotarians have been doing this for 14 years. They know what they're doing, and I'm just here to herd cats. Any questions?
Any questions on the Blueberry Festival?
I just have a question on the agenda. I noticed that it was placed on the agenda by you. Are you here on behalf of the Rotary or you're here on behalf of Avon Park Chamber of Commerce? Because that was a little confusing whenever I saw that the Chamber of Commerce was on there.
It says name of organization, Avon Park Rotary Club.
Yeah.
I'm
at
just the
bottom.
contact person, the chairperson for the event.
Okay. I was curious how that worked.
Yeah, just a chairperson. I'm just a Rotarian.
She wears a lot of hats.
Somehow I've turned into jack of all trades, master of none.
All right.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve D13 for the Blueberry Festival.
We have a
second.
motion. We have a second. Jim seconding, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember McCure,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank
Camel?
you all.
Thank you.
All righty. Item number 14, we have the Avon Park Housing Authority Board reappointments. Chrissy, do you want to go over them?
Yes, I don't have the names in front of me and I apologize for that, but 3 members' terms are expiring. So we have confirmed with the Housing Authority that they are interested in extending their time on the board. Those individuals include Miss Felita Knighton, Miss Carmelo Pinheiro, and Miss Lisa Pugh.
That was Mr. Carmelo.
Sorry. So, yes, they are looking to extend their time on the Housing Authority.
Okay, any objections to that?
I got some questions, Mayor.
ahead.
A question. Christy, did they give you a count of roll call, how often these people are showing up?
No, ma'am.
Because I'm hearing chatter that they're not showing up like they should. And I feel as though if they're not showing up, I have to show up, they should have to show up. So I would love to.
I do know that there is one who
Mhm.
can't make it, but she always calls in. She's
Mhm.
always on the phone.
Mhm.
Mr. Carmelo is always there. As far as the other one, her attendance probably lacks a little bit.
I would like, if the board don't mind, I would like to table this because I would like to see the attendance. If somebody is taking attendance, right?
I'd have to make a
Yes,
request for that, but
they
I
do.
will say
They
this,
do.
if we do table this, then those members cannot officially have meetings because they haven't been reappointed to the board.
Do they have a meeting coming up between this meeting tonight?
I would have to check with Miss Penny Pierrette.
They just had one Tuesday night.
Today. Okay.
Last Tuesday.
Once a month, is it?
So I just put that out there so that you know that that's kind of the risk that we run. We tried to get these out as soon as possible. I've got appointments planned out for the rest of the year, so
So it sounds like we have just enough time to examine it before our next meeting. So if we could get that
and I'll talk to
information.
Penny about finding out the attendance and I'll do a table for you.
Okay.
Okay, is anyone opposed to that?
No.
Do we need a motion to that effect, Jerry? Motion to table.
I prefer a motion to postpone.
Okay.
To the next meeting.
So, Ms. Taylor, do you want to make a motion to postpone until our next meeting?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to postpone D14 Avon Park Housing Authority Board reappointment to our next meeting.
Do we have a
I'll
second?
second.
We have a motion and a second. Last call for questions. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember McCure,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Item number 15, ask me memorandum of understanding. Ms. Coger.
Yes, so at the time of the elimination of the solid waste landfill operator position, the city applied the classification seniority per Article 18, Section 4 of the CBA and determined that the employee would be laid off. And as there were no other junior employees in the landfill operator classification, no other employee could be bumped. Notwithstanding, as there was an existing vacant position in another department, namely a streets equipment operator stormwater position, the city offered to rehire the employee in that position at a rate of $20.37 per hour. The union filed a grievance and contended that rather than classification seniority, the city should have used department seniority for purposes of affording bumping rights to the employee under Article 18 of the collective bargaining agreement. The parties have fully discussed the matter and have agreed to resolve it by applying department security for purposes of bumping, which would allow the employee to exercise his bumping rights under this memo of understanding. Article 18, Section 4 currently states the following regarding the bumping rights. It says a senior employee is in good standing who is laid off in one classification may bump the junior employee if qualified to hold that position. This memo of understanding clarifies that employees can bump anyone within their department, not just within their classification, and adds that the city may elect to offer the last affected employee the opportunity to transfer to a vacant position in another department if qualified.
Okay.
So we just need the memo of understanding, if council approves it, to reinstate that employee back to where he was and then let him do his bumping rights.
Okay. Any questions on this?
So will he be reimbursed for any kind of back pay? Yes?
Yes, he will be made whole.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe at all. Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
Seeing none, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve D15 for the AFS CME memorandum of understanding.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second.
Jim seconds. Last call for questions. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember Mercure,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Item number 16, we have the master services agreement with Comcast Enterprise Services. Mr. Byrd.
So we have a IP network right now that connects our SCADA systems at our plants, our security cameras, our phone systems, our Wi-Fi, all of this stuff. It's not very well done. So this is to kind of modernize it. You'll see a dollar amount on there. There's an extra, once this goes through, there's an extra 500 coming off. So we'll be canceling one account. That brings it up. Basically increases security, increases efficiency. So the way it should have been done in the first place. So.
Okay. All right, any questions about this?
So I just have one because is this to run any of the cameras that that we talked about putting down on the south side at Allen McWhite Park?
This is the fiber for wastewater, Public Works, Bell Street, Glenwood Avenue, City Hall, Fire Department, and this building.
Okay.
So the ones for Elaine McWhite, we're waiting, last I heard, we're waiting on the air conditioners for the mechanical room. And then we're putting the electronic equipment there and the wiring and the camera out. So
Okay. All right.
that's unrelated, but that's an update for that.
Gotcha.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll be looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve D16, the master services agreement with Comcast Enterprise Services.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Last call for questions. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember Merker,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Item number 17, contract with Excavation Point, Inc., Mr. Watson.
Good evening. We've got a proposal for EPI to come replace 4 inlet drains over at A Miracle and East Circle Street. The inlet drains, we've got 2 of them that are on the north and southeast side. There is no manhole. The inlet is one's 3 inches, the other is 4 inches. You can't get a vacuum in there to suck all the debris out or even wash it out. There's no way to access it. The other 2, a lot of the curbing is cracked, just bad designs. We've got one that I've had to send one of my guys out to patch. Somebody hit it with a vehicle, cracked the concrete, had a piece of rebar sticking out, popped 2 tires on 2 separate occasions. So we fixed that, temporarily fixed it till somebody hits it again. But these are some of the drains that have been here for years and just kind of a poor design.
Okay. Any questions on this project?
Sorry, we've got a slide. On the next slide, you can see we've got a tape measure showing, so there's no way to access it. And there's no grate or anything to stop trash. On the next slide, you've got some that have grates. You can see some of the cracking in the curbing, the valley gutters messed up. Can't even pop those grates without tearing up the asphalt around it. Some of those are impacted. You can barely tell with the picture, but there's a big wad of millings. And I don't know if that's impacted the drain where it's functioning properly or not. We've got the another slide. So that's the one that was cracked. You can barely tell, but you got some of the lighter gray to where the rebar was popping out and popping Citizens tires. So as you can see that last slide, you've got a lot of the, if you can go back. So that one's got all the cracks around it, the cracks on the curb. So eventually that will cave in. And all of them just, from what I've seen, I've spoke with EPI, they've come out and he agrees that it would be a good thing to replace.
He's done.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead with the question.
I have a question, Jared.
Yes, ma'am.
Was this something that was budgeted for this year, or this is something that we just found out like recently?
This is just something that we found out recently.
And have we gone around to look at others?
Yes,
I
ma'am,
mean,
we have.
because rainy season is upon us,
Yes, ma'am.
and we have
Yes,
gone
ma'am.
around and looked for others.
Yeah, we've got a couple others that need attention as well, but these are some of the worst ones.
And you're gonna be bringing the others to our attention this year,
Yes, ma'am.
for budget, doing the budget.
Yes, ma'am, for next year. Some of them aren't too bad, but these here are something we need to replace.
Okay, any other questions? No other questions? Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve item number D17 for the contract with Excavation Point. The repair of these items just showed on the screen.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? I'll second the motion. We have a motion and a second. Last call for questions. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Yes.
Councilmember McCure,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Mayor, can I
Yes.
ask him a question?
Go ahead.
Jared, what do you estimate that we're gonna be looking at for these kind of situations when it comes to the curves and the drain and all that? I mean, has anybody like took a look at it in advance are we in trouble? I mean, a lot of them look like this. I mean,
No, ma'am, not all of them. Some of them are in pretty good shape, but we are finding some here and there that need some attention. But some of the stuff we can also kind of dress up and fix ourselves.
mhm.
But these are so poor that we don't have the equipment or knowledge to fix.
Did that Kimley Horn report that they did cover these types of drains, or was that strictly for the roads?
I believe that's strictly for the roads on.
Yeah.
It was just a pavement condition index.
Okay. Got it.
So the drain that's on 27 and Hal McRae on the very corner right there. I know there's been a few times I've actually almost hit that thing. There's a metal that hangs out in the street. Are we responsible for that, or is that DOT?
That's DOT.
And has anybody ever approached them about fixing that?
Well, they just fixed that one.
Oh, did they?
Yes, ma'am. So somebody, I believe, got into an accident. We reached out to FDOT and told them about it. And then I believe it was about 3 weeks ago, they fixed it.
Okay. Good.
Any other questions? Seeing none. All right, item number 18, we have EMCI station radio and alerting purchase. Chief,
No.
I don't think so.
All right, so as you're aware, we have a hardening grant through the state for the station. This EMCI and the next thing, the refrigerators, but we'll talk about that in a second. Those were separate from the contract we have with LCOB, basically just to keep costs down. There's like little to no oversight. They're not really going to install refrigerators. They're just going to get delivered. And then the EMCI is going to do all their work. So this is just to go through this process of the state grant. We have to follow our purchasing policy also. So it's bringing to you so you can approve that money, which will then be included in the grant to get reimbursed.
Okay. Any questions about item number 18?
No.
Seeing none, we'll be looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion. We approve D18, the EMCI station radio and alerting purchase.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Last call for questions. Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember McCure,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Item number D19. Chief?
This is just the same thing, but just another thing that we're getting separate than that contract with LCOP to keep price down.
Okay. Any questions on the refrigerators and freezers?
Yeah, I have a question. These, you're getting two, right?
No,
Two. Oh, no, three.
We're getting three
So are
refrigerators. Yep.
3 refrigerators, and what is a worktop freezer? What is that?
It's a big freezer that has 4 drawers.
Mhm.
We kept it separate than refrigerators because they're trying to get them bigger. We sort of use we use the fire department as sort of an emergency operations center. So we get other people from the city to come there when we have incidents that are bigger.
Oh, gotcha.
So our standard homeowner refrigerators that we weren't getting weren't big enough. So while we got this grant, we're trying to get bigger
I got you.
appliances to hold all this.
So are these going to be in the bay or are they going to be actually inside?
Yeah, they're going to be inside.
Okay.
We've made room where the coffee pot used to be. If you've been in there, that's where that freezer is going to go. And then the refrigerators aren't much bigger than the normal ones. They're just taller and they're only refrigerators, so they hold a lot more.
Okay. And did you say that this company is going to do the installation or they're just going to deliver it?
No, they're just going to deliver them and we're going to push them into place and.
Oh,
plug
that's
them
all
in.
it'll take is just to plug in.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, no ice maker, no water to it, nothing like that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
Seeing none, do we have?
I got one, Mayor.
Oh, go ahead.
Chief, in the background, you said that, it would be used for other departments. So you're talking like during the storm and other
Yeah.
departments
Yep. So when we
work?
have a storm,
Uh-huh.
we are able to purchase food to supply because restaurants and stores might not be open. So we purchase food ahead of time.
Uh-huh.
And those refrigerators are big enough that we can have other people arrive there and put their food in there because they may not have power at other buildings. We have a generator that can keep everything running. So we use it as a basically gathering point, but emergency operations center. So other people can come there and get information and get food. Other people meaning other departments.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Seeing none, we'll be looking for a motion.
I'll go ahead and make the motion for D19 for the refrigerator and freezer purchase.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember Mercure,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Item number 20, rehabilitation assistance subordinate mortgage forgiveness.
Yes, thank you. In December 7th, 2012, the city of Avon Park entered into a subordinate mortgage agreement with Miss Mary Comalander. The principal amount was $80,000. This is basically a CDBG grant for her to rehabilitate the property. The terms of the agreement stipulate that there's no payment, no interest due for the first 10 years. For the next 5 years, the principal amount is decreased by 20% each year, with a zero balance owed December 7th of 2027. Unfortunately, Ms. Comalander passed away on April 10th, 2024. The loan stipulates that should the borrower become deceased during the term of the mortgage, the repayment requirement should be tolled upon the death of the borrower until the property is probated, deeded, or otherwise transferred. Her estate has reached out to us to ask for the payment amount, what would be the payoff of this subordinate mortgage. We reached out to our consultant, Fred Fox, to understand how this would work with CDBG funds. So what is owing right now is $59,879.45. We would have to return that to the state of Florida. Fred Fox recommended that we just forgive the amount because that's within our purview to do. And I think it's important to note that if this were amortized like a normal loan, the loan balance would only be $14,667.
Okay. All right. So if we could collect the money, we'd have to give it back to the state. So he's suggesting that we simply forgive the money since there'd be no benefit to the taxpayers anyway.
So move.
Okay. We have a motion to that effect.
Second.
There's a second. Okay. I'm assuming the motion was to forgive the $59,879.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
Dr. Kelly, if you said if it was a regular loan, how much would you didn't pay back?
If it was amortized with no interest over the life of the 15 years at her point of death, she would have owed $14,667.67.
And the city of Avon Park is not at a loss for this, right?
Correct.
Because it was good.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Well, I'd like to make a statement. If we're gonna start doing this, we need to look in the future if we're gonna continue to do it.
There's people dying.
No, people gonna die, but when you sign the contract, you went into the contract knowing that if you die, the payment, the loan come forward and somebody got to take it, the children. Yeah.
I do want to clarify that they are asking for a payoff amount. What the document says is that it's simply told, which means once the property is probated, it would continue to diminish the loan amount on schedule for whoever was the recipient of the property. So there would really never be any money recaptured, even if we just said, no, we're not going to give you a dollar amount. No, we're not going to forgive it. We'll just keep tolling it until you do something with probate.
Because if she lived, it was being forgiven 20% each year. So if she would have lived an additional 3 years, then it would have been gone anyway.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire,
Yes.
Councilmember Mercure,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you very much. Item number 21, Bickle Building, Ms. McCure.
Yes. So I have a statement before I go into this. And the reason I've asked for this item to be added to the agenda tonight is because it's been brought to my attention that a watchdog group has been disclosing information to the public regarding the Bickle Building. It seems as if some internal controls and procedures were either missing or overlooked. So we need to raise the curtain and let this be brought out in a public setting so it can be discussed openly, because in hindsight, it almost looks as if some council members were misled by information that was previously presented. In my opinion, it looks like a total lack of transparency. When that happens, we all know it can lead to mistrust, miscommunication, and conflict. Transparency is something that the city has to continue to work on. I feel like Avon Park has a reoccurring image problem, and the residents aren't too happy about that. I get tired of people thinking that we are all corrupt, politically corrupt. There are several people that are here tonight that would like to speak on the information that will be discussed. I ask this council is courteous with the speakers, treat them with a level of professional respect, as I ask the speakers to do the same to this council. Also, please keep in mind that this discussion is not regarding the current complaint between the mayor and the Ethics Commission. This is a discussion about the RFP, the proposal, the lease, the permit, and the certificate of occupancy. So I would like to ask who in the audience would like to speak first on this?
Is that Lulybell?
And that's Maria.
Maria, okay.
Maria Sutherland, 900 West Main. I have some handouts.
Appreciate the preparedness, sir. But I appreciate the preparedness.
I'd like to start out that a lot of times people make mistakes. And in doing so, more mistakes are made off of the initial decisions that are made.
Your name is Maria Sutherland. You live at?
Yeah, I already said that.
Okay.
So when mistakes are made and it compounds other mistakes because decisions made were erroneous to start out with. So I'm just here to give you some information that I have vetted with other individuals that are totally unrelated to Avon Park. And each and every single one of them reached the same conclusion. So to start out with, what I have in front of you are 19 pages, I believe. And each one tells a story. So it starts out with early January 2022, Mr. Sauls, the developer who ended up with the building, toured the building of the Bickle building with the mayor, the mayor's wife, mayor's father, the gym owner that ended up moving into the gym and his wife. And that was being done while the advertisement was underway. In other words, the RFP had been advertised, the public got to see it in the newspaper. And this group toured the building with the intent to put the gymnasium in there, or the fitness center. So the participation of the mayor with his business associate calls to question whether or not it was a legal practice, or ethical for that matter. So once the proposal was provided to the city, and I'm just going to go over page 1, that is the non-collusion affidavit that Mr. Sauls signed when he submitted his proposal. And I'd like you to read the highlighted section in paragraph number 4, the last sentence, where it says profit or cost, element of the proposal price or the proposal price of any proposer, or to secure through any collusion, conspiracy, connivance, or unlawful agreement any advantage against the city or any person interested in the proposed contract. So that basically warns the proposer that, hey, you better watch out if you're doing anything that's illegal or immoral or unethical, that you are subject to not getting this proposal. I'd also like to say that I did get public records in regards to the city attorney's invoices and billings. And even though Mr. Anderson decided that he was going to abstain from any proceedings regarding the actual motions to give the lease for the proposal, et cetera, he did participate on 4 separate occasions to edit, alter, and change the contract between closed door meetings between the city attorney, the attorney for Sauls, and the city manager at the time. And I'd like to ask how and who gave him permission to mediate any part of those negotiations when he himself had said that he was going to abstain from anything regarding the Bickle building.
The council did.
Page 2. You can see here that Mr. Anderson's wife started her articles of incorporation within just a couple of days after the proposal was given for the RFP. And then section part 3, where it says mayor's first abstention, please note that the mayor himself wrote in here, and by the way, this abstention form is what you fill out when there's a conflict of interest, and you have to fill it out yourself and sign it and state why you are abstaining. And he stated that the measure involved or associated that may appear to be a business associate. Please note the word appear. That means there's no involvement other than appearance.
Correct.
All right. We will show otherwise with future documents.
Good luck with that.
Keep it up. Page 4. Page 4. There is another abstention. This was the motion to approve the lease with Mr. Sauls, and it was done on 4/12/2022. Keep in mind again, Mr. Anderson has been negotiating the contract with the city on behalf of the city. And I wonder really if it was for the city or if it was for Mr. Sauls, because certain important elements that were in the contract were removed, particularly the unfettered access of any city staff to enter the building that they owned while Mr. Sauls was working on the building. And that was removed from the contract. Who removed that? And by the way, again, the mayor says that the reason why he abstained that night was because the measure appeared to be a conflict with a tenant of a property that I am part owner of. Now, keep in mind that this is a conflict that he stated appeared to be based off of another building unrelated to the Bickle building. Had nothing to do with the Bickle. And in his letter to the Ethics Commission, he made no mention of that, of the Bickle building. So page 5. Basically, it's basically irrelevant, I guess, that you can vote on something in appearance only, or better yet, you can abstain on it based off of the appearance, and it makes things irrelevant. But if you go to page 5, here's a picture of the mayor working on May the 12th of 2022 inside the Bickle building, on May 12th and on May 13th. And by the way, that happens for about 10 months. Hands-on construction for Mr. Sauls. So if Mr. Sauls is not a business associate, why is the mayor working, building bricks and mortar inside of this building to benefit Mr. Sauls? It's not for the gym that went in there. It's the actual physical structure of the building that got repaired and maintained.
I actually care about Avon Park.
All right, page 6 shows more pictures, August 3rd and August 4th. There's the mayor again doing work By the way, Mr. Saul's wife is the director for the county in regards to all managing permits for the city of Avon Park, and she visited the site on a regular basis. And I guess nothing triggered in her mind that there needed to be a permit, because we do know that Mr. Anderson worked without a permit for nearly 10 months. Go to page 7. There's some plumbing rough in before the permit. There's Mr. Anderson bent over working on that hole in the ground before he put concrete over it to conceal the plumbing. August 27th to 22. There's another picture, page 8, September 3rd, September 9th. More work being done. That's Mr. Anderson there with a mask on his face. Page 8, page 9 is more. October 4th, October 18th, electrical installation is being installed. The man in the dark blue shirt is Mr. Anderson, and the guy in the blue shirt is Mr. Saul. So Mr. Saul is very well aware that Mr. Anderson is doing this work inside the building because the building is in his lease name. Page 10, October 26th, my anniversary. More Dura rock was installed October 10th. There was more work being done, framing and insulation. Keep in mind, no permits have been done yet. And then you come to page 11. This is an email from Mayor Anderson to the fitness center owner this is the start of the agreement correspondence with the fitness center on March the 25th. Keep in mind that while pretty much the fitness center construction is complete, Anderson goes after fitness center partnership as part of his investment construction costs. All along, we've heard time and time again that it was his wife's money and that he had nothing to do with it. Also, the building is owned, or better yet, it's owned by the city and leased by Saul's. So where's the responsibility of the mayor making sure that permits and things are being done? Or Mr. Saul's for that matter? Or did his wife know? We don't know. The building was rehab for Saul's. It was not rehab for the gym. The improvements were done to the interior of the building for Mr. Saul's to earn revenue in rent so that he could go ahead and house someone in there. So you can't say that this was just for the gym or for a spa for the wife. The building was rehab for Mr. Saul's. All right, then you fast forward on page 12 to April the 4th. Here's an email from Mayor Anderson to Steve Madre, the owner of the fitness center, regarding a draft agreement between the Andersons and the fitness center, along with a expense report of construction costs. April 4th. Please note at the bottom of the page of number 12, it says, let me know what else needs to be spent to get going, if any. That is Garrett Anderson's email to Mr. Madre. So he's not involved, but he's asking him if he needs more money. Page 13, this is the famous we'll be balling in the keys, because he has already factored in his mind how much money he's going to make, Mr. Anderson, of course, because based off of 300 members, they'll pay off all the debt. 700 members, they'll be getting 75 to 100,000 a year, and then over 1,000 members, they'll be balling in the keys. Ballin, not balling, but maybe you'll be balling. Okay, so page 14, if you look at that, this is the contract from the mayor to the fitness center. Please note that this agreement started around early April, and this was right when the building was getting ready to get its CO. This is the presumed final version that the gym owner would not sign, and then he got beat up for it. But let's go back in here and we look at the bottom of page 15. And this again is Mr. Anderson's contract that he submitted to Mr. Madre. And this goes to show you that this was nothing but a concerted effort to make sure that a gym was put in there so that Mr. Anderson could make money. So for the purposes of the Madre ownership interest, Stephen, meaning the owner, Stephen and Katie shall be considered one unit, and Garrett and Katie shall be considered one unit. Keep in mind, Katie Madre is one person and Katie Anderson is another. So what Garrett is saying here is that he and she are considered one unit. But we already were told that he had nothing to do with her. It was her money. Then you go on to page 17. These are the expenses that Mr. Anderson put together as an attachment to Mr. Madre's email when it came to the expenses that were incurred on the repairs and rehab and remodel of the inside of the Bickle building. $412,000 worth. Again, this contradicts Anderson's involvement with Saul's, saying that, well, you know, this was my wife's money. This is for her spa. It has nothing to do with me. But yet you were in there for 10 months working on it, sweating and working, and then demanding repayment of Mr. Madre. Why not Mr. Sauls? Where was Mr. Sauls's involvement? All right, page 18 is just a conclusion of those expenses showing the 412. And so page 19 is the last one, and to me, this is the most important one. Page 19 references the day that you all transferred the deed via resolution to Mr. Sauls. And I believe that you all did it without really knowing the full facts of what was going on. This abstention form, if you read it in Mr. Anderson's handwriting, says that he's abstaining because he wants to avoid the appearance of an issue as the applicant is an employee. Now, based off of all the information that I've given you, the emails to Mr. Madre, the photographs of Mr. Anderson working inside, the insurmountable amount of money that went into the building, he's saying that it's still the appearance. I beg to differ. This is not appearance. This is just hardcore money of your family that you invested in the building, which, by the way, Ms. McGuire's husband owns part of the company that did the work, which should make you abstain from any future vote having to do with the Bickle building, as well as you, Mr. Anderson, because you have thus far. Remember, it's the appearance. Now it's no longer appearance. This is proof that you actually worked in the building, invested your money into the building, worked on it on yourself with your own hands for nearly 10 months. You went on the D&D radio show and you completely defied any of these facts, and all along claiming that you had an ethics letter from the Ethics Commission that validated you able to abstain. That letter has nothing to do with the Bickle building. You made that letter with the assumption that it was a different piece of property where Mr. Sauls leased property from you. So just because you got that letter, it's not a flag of immunity for you. So I have some questions for the council. Now, it's my opinion, right, that it is inconceivable that Mr. Sauls approached the Bickle building project in good faith when he originally proposed his RFP. I would like to know, would the council have approved the developer's proposal had they know that there was involvement prior to the RFP being submitted between Mr. Anderson and Mr. Sauls and Mr. Madre? In other words, when you got that RFP, they were already talking about who was going to do what and who was going to make money, and then they're going to end up balling in the keys. The second question is, would you have approved the resolution that secured the deed transfer? And I believe someone else in the room is going to be able to go into details regarding that. But you can see how when you make one mistake based off of insufficient information, concealment, collusion, call it what you want, that it just snowballs into more and more. Did the council agree for the mayor to negotiate the development agreement? Did you all approve him to do that? Knowing that he had abstained or was planning on abstaining or had abstained on one of them? Oh, he had his excuses that he had to abstain, but yet he negotiated part of that agreement with Saul's attorney, city manager at the time, and our city attorney. Now, I have no doubt in my mind that none of this information was provided to the public. It wasn't provided to city attorney, I don't think, because I know he would have stopped it. But I don't think there's a single council, well, maybe just three of you, but I don't think three of you knew anything about what was going on with that RFP before it got submitted by Mr. Sauls. Would you have allowed the mayor to negotiate the agreement when he had clear conflicts? Would you have allowed it for Ms. McGuire to do it when she had clear conflicts? Just because her husband owns a portion of it doesn't inure her to benefit gain, it does. Did you know that Mr. Sauls and Mr. Anderson are business associates despite the mayor claiming otherwise? This documentation proves it. He worked inside the Bickle building with his own money on a building that Mr. Sauls was leasing. He may say it was for the gym, but the bricks, if the gym were to vacate today, all of those improvements remain. And they were all done by the hands of Mr. Anderson. Finally, do you feel that you should have been able to see the changes to the agreement of who did what changes before the final version were provided to you? Based on the records that I was able to find, there were nearly 9 different versions of that lease agreement, 4 of which certain occasions, Mr. Anderson participated in those edits and changes. The other ones were just the due work that the attorney did with his staff. But those changes, how many of you got to see those? How many of you got to see the agreement before it came as a final approval for you guys to review? Can you say how many saw it? None. I would be outraged if I knew that this was going on behind the scenes with a fake ethics letter composed under a different premise to make it look like it was for this particular project. Because if indeed Mr. Anderson had sent the Ethics Commission a letter stating that he was going to be involved with the building, that he was going to be constructing it, that his wife was going to be investing in it, that his sister owned part of the company, that he owned part of the company that owned it, would the letter have come back the same? They would have said, you know what? Absolutely not. It's conflicted and you cannot vote on this, even though you claim you abstained and that you had permission to vote, but for good governance, you shouldn't, because that's what the letter said. They would have said absolutely not. Thank you.
Well, I strongly disagree.
I know that we have one more person who'd like to speak on this.
Is that Stephen Madre? Where are you at?
No.
Oh, the other, okay. All right, we'll keep it down the other.
Be respectful. Everybody's respectful.
Name and address for the record, please.
Dolores Miranda, 4051 East Old Bobbin Range Road.
Dolores, before you begin, can you please update everyone on your background and expertise?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I was born and raised here in Avon Park, graduated from Avon Park High School. I graduated from South Florida Junior College. From there, I finished up a bachelor's degree at UCF. How about now?
Yes.
I think I have to, there. I have a Fire Officer 1 certification with the state of Florida, Firefighter 1, Firefighter 2, Fire Inspector 1, Fire Inspector 2, and EMT. I worked with the Office of the Fire Marshal for 30 years. And I guess the takeaway from all of that is, number one, I understand how government works, small government in particular, and that I really know a lot about COs, building permits, plan review, inspections. So with that said, I'm here tonight to discuss the Fitness for Use Certificate of Occupancy. The same CO that was misrepresented as the Bickle Building CO and was the reason given for the transfer of ownership from the city of Avon Park to Daniel Sauls. For those that don't understand the process, a certificate of occupancy or CO is issued by the building department after they review a plan submitted by the design team or architect, issue a permit based on that plan, then conduct inspections. After everything is approved, a CO is issued and the space can be occupied. Also, for those that may not be aware, a CO can be issued for an entire building, a single floor, or just one tenant space. It all depends on the scope of work identified in the plans and the permit. In other words, a CO is tied to a permit and the scope of work. So each of you has 3 documents in your hand. Document 1. Is everybody, document 1 is the misrepresented CO for the Bickle Building. It indicates the permit number in the upper right-hand corner, 23010754. Okay, everybody with me? Yep. Okay. All right, next one is document 2. It looked like this. Document 2 is permit 23010754. It is for the interior remodel of a tenant space for a fitness center at 2 East Main Street, not the Bickle Building. See the bottom of the permit under miscellaneous information and notes. It says interior remodel fitness center. Okay, y'all are with me, right? Okay. The actual mailing address for the fitness center is 10 East Main Street. The incorrect address submitted by the design team helped muddy the waters and facilitate the false narrative that the CO for the fitness center was for the Bickle Building. Document 3 Okay. Document 3 is the architectural plan submitted for review that identifies the tenant space for the fitness center as a scope of work and takes the explanation a step further and specifically excludes the remainder of the Bickle building from the scope of work. The CO associated with permit number 2301-0754 is only for the fitness center, about 28% of the building, and is nowhere near the project completion required by the lease agreement for the Bickle building. On April 10th, 2023, City Manager Mark Schrader told the council the county issued a CO for the Bickle building during the city manager update portion of the meeting. The CO for the Bickle building wasn't even an agenda item. If it had been on the agenda as it should have been, the council would have seen the item prior to the meeting, had the opportunity to ask the city manager or staff questions, or research the proposal and lease on their own. 3 days later, April 13th, Deputy Mayor Jim Barnard was called to City Hall to sign the warranty deed, transferring ownership of the Bickle building to Daniel Sauls. April 24th, 2:26 p.m., the Bickle building deed was recorded. Same day, 6 p.m., City Council meeting. City Attorney Burr read the resolution to approve the sale of the Bickle building. He stated the resolution was a formality because the sale had already been consummated. The council never saw the CO. Nobody, and I mean nobody, that I could find any record of, watching videos, looking at minutes. Nobody reviewed the lease agreement or the proposal to make sure the benchmarks identified in those documents had been met. And that is how the wool got pulled over the eyes of City Council without a CO and without reviewing the lease requirements. If I were one of you, I'd be mad as hell. I have questions. You probably do as well. Why wasn't the Bickle building on the agenda prior to the ownership and deed transfer? Who gave the city manager the CO and told him it was for the entire building? Who told the city attorney there was a CO and to begin the paperwork for the transfer of ownership? Why didn't the mayor or Daniel Saul set the record straight and tell the council only the fitness center was built out? Because they both knew. Who told Jim Bernard to sign the deed? Why didn't the city manager or the mayor, who was heavily involved, as Maria discussed, with the negotiations of the Bickle building lease, put the benchmarks that were supposed to be met on the agenda to discuss? The proposal and lease required a CO for project completion, not one tenant space. A city sign. You know what? This should have been a big deal. There should have been ribbon cutting, a big media event. Didn't happen. Replace the canopy. The front of the building looks awful. Upscale coffee shop. Didn't happen. Saul's business office on the first floor. Didn't happen. Business incubator on the second floor. Didn't happen. Elevator. Didn't happen. Insulate the entire building, etc. Didn't happen. Total project completion in 36 months, according to Daniel Saul's proposal. Not going to happen. If you're thinking there needs to be an independent investigation from the very beginning of the RFP process from the beginning of the RFP process to the transfer of ownership, then you're thinking the same way I am. It needs to happen tonight. Council members, you have the hard evidence in your hands. There was never a CO for the Bickle building. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? Stephen doesn't want to talk? Nope. Okay. All right.
So now my question is, what are we going to do about this? This is transparency right here, 101. We need to do something with it tonight.
Well, I'd say it's a whole bunch of lies for one.
Well, you would. You would.
Say it's an absolute joke. Okay. All right. We'll keep the comments down in the audience, people. Jared, do you have anything to add?
No, I mean, it appears that there are some disparities with regard to the CO that was issued and what was in the RFP and the proposal. And what was anticipated, I thought was anticipated by the city council. But my feeling is that cities do a lousy job of investigation. What has been alleged is if this affidavit is false, then that's a crime, and the state attorneys can review that. The Ethics Commission is, as I understand it, taking up a lot of the issue associated with the allegations, made against the mayor. As to the, some of the other stuff, I don't think there's anything we can do with regard to the county employee. That would be something that, could be filed as a complaint against that person if somebody wished to do that at the county. But the problem is and we had an investigation before, as everybody well remembers, about 9 years ago, and it just went terrible. And ultimately, I got blamed for it simply because I had recommended different people, as I was asked to bring different people to do the investigation and propose those to you. And the council chose one, and still nobody was happy with the result. Neither side was happy with the result. And nothing ever happened from it. And so, I mean, investigations, it's hard for me to see an advantage to that for the city. That's not to say that if there's not some kind of an allegation that couldn't be made in the form of a lawsuit, that you couldn't get it, if the council wanted to hire an attorney to sue, and bring a case, that would be part of the investigation they would do, and to see if there's a case. And, there are better means to get testimony in those circumstances, which are not available to the city. If you hire an investigator, what are they going to do? Say, I demand that you tell me what you know about this. They really don't have any ability to do that. That's law enforcement and Ethics Commission section.
You guys were disturbing the meeting. Sorry.
No, you did.
So that I was asked, what I felt about. I'm saying don't do anything. I'm just simply saying, I don't think investigation is going to get you what you want to get. That's just my perspective. And I'm not taking any position one way or the other with regard to, the veracity of.
Yeah, we got to get his work down too. Y'all done all this talk. Who is Taylor iPhone 14? Is you in there? Yeah. You got no password. I'm already using it.
That take care of it? Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Did your office not look into the transfer? Did your office not handle the transfer?
What happened was that we were told that the CO was issued and so we should then finalize the transfer, which was in what the agreement.
So your office didn't look at any documentation?
We didn't see any documentation on it at all. We got this word from the city.
I find that hard to believe.
Okay, well, let me just say, hold on. At this moment, I'd like to make a motion then.
Yeah.
I'd like to make the motion that an internal inquiry be performed on the policies and procedures that were carried out before the ownership of the Bickle building. I would like the city to obtain an independent attorney to look at the contract, the proceedings, to see if any fraudulent activity took place using records provided by other records that might be available. These records and other records that could be available. Please also include in that motion that I don't want this to be completed by any code enforcement, human resources, or the finance department, that no one in City Hall needs to do an inquiry of this nature.
Okay. So there's a motion. We have to have a second if you want to continue.
Shelley, if I may add to your motion.
You can't add to a motion. You have to second.
Okay,
a
well,
motion.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Is it open for discussion?
Now it's open for discussion.
Shelley just pointed out some things in here in the city that she would not like to take place, meaning human resource, code enforcement. Who else did you say?
Anybody in the city administration. This
Well,
needs
I
to be
like to
done
go a little farther.
independently.
If you can add on to your motion, I like to go a little farther. I would like to go outside of Highlands County and Polk County, preferably Hillsborough or Orange County, to find an outside counsel.
I'll accept that as part of my motion.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that was part of your motion.
Yes.
That's still your second, right? Taylor,
I'm sorry.
you still wish to second the
I
motion?
still wish to second it.
All right. Well, obviously, I strongly disagree. I mean, it's all a bunch of garbage, hands down. So if that's the direction that you want to go, that's fine. But I think that reaching out to the county to figure out why permits or COs were issued for whatever reason would be a good step. You can ask
If-
them. They'll have an answer
If the
for you.
independent attorney finds nothing, we have nothing to worry about.
Okay. Well. Okay.
We need to take roll.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for the
Make
cue.
comment.
Before they do,
Come on. Come on.
Yeah.
Ask the city attorney one more questions up front.
Ask as many questions as you want.
I too was here 8+ years ago when we had another issue that we went through hiring city attorney as well as his expertise and a lie detector specialist and so on and so forth. And it cost the city a ton of money with no clear conclusion by the city council, even though I'm sure there was plenty of people that thought one way and some people thought it was the other way. So my job up here as a representative of the citizens of Avon Park is to do what's in the best interest for them under the direction of the people we put in a position to do this. One, the city manager, and two, the city attorney. And if the city attorney tells me that there's never going to be a result here that's going to satisfy everybody, it's just going to be an expense that is just not going to come to any clear conclusion, then I have to take his advice because that's the reason we have to hire him for it. Just like somebody talked about the city manager about asking who asked you to sign papers, the city manager asked you to sign papers. So you have to take the expertise of the people that you hired to give you the advice. All of us up here are just citizens of Avon Park, like everybody else in the audience. Most of us have full-time jobs doing other businesses other than city business. And so we're actually here to represent you with the advice of the experts that we hire. And the experts that we hire and voted on was one, the city manager at the time, and two, the city attorney. And the city attorney already gave you his comments about his opinion about going further with any investigation and the cost and whether it would satisfy anything. And so those are my comments, and that's where I stand.
Things might be a little uncomfortable at first, but they need to be done.
And I don't know whether you think would be found, but I'm just saying based on past experience, it just doesn't, that's just the way it was before. But do as you wish.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Is it okay?
Name and address for the record, please.
Miguel Garibaldi, 126 West Main Street.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm a little bit of an expert in this field, okay?
Okay.
And the one thing that didn't sit right with me was any city in Florida, any CRA, when they give a building, when you get the contract for the building, the deed does not go to the person who is purchasing, taking the building until they complete the entire contract, whatever it is, 5 years, 3 years, 2 years. Now, I don't know. I don't understand how it happened, how he Mr. Sauls got the deed before completion. But for him to mortgage out the building to complete it, that's not legal. So take it as you will.
Okay.
But the deed to go to an owner or leasee before the completion of the project does not happen in the state of Florida. I'm sorry.
Okay. I believe you've already spoken on the issue.
And I'll talk again because we already know that
What's your
your
name?
company
What's
did
your
the work.
address?
Right, you already know it. You already know
For
that
the
you did the
record,
work.
ma'am.
Maria Sutherland,
Thank
900
you.
West Main, you're welcome. If McGuire votes on this, knowing that her husband owns part of the company that you did the construction on inside the Bickle building, I will file an ethics complaint on both of you for voting tonight.
Okay. All right. So the long of the short is,
We need to call the roll. Please.
Mr. Sutherland, or excuse me, Mr. Sauls, big distinction there, is the one who applied for the building. He is the one who owns the building. He is the one who did all of the paperwork for the building. It is his building. It is not my building, for the record. Was my wife involved in a business? Was my wife part owner? Is she still part owner of a business? According to the records, yes, she is. So has she seen a dime from that gym? No, even though she invested 400 and some odd $1,000, even though Stephen in these paperwork says she's supposed to get half of the profits as they were partners. She's received nothing. She can't get a phone call back. She hasn't been able to audit the books as per their agreement. And in fact, I believe that Daniel Sauls only agreed to that lease through extortion. If you read the text messages from that little guy back there, he 100%, in my opinion, extorted Daniel Sauls and myself. So let the record show.
Is that why Daniel Sauls roughed him up?
Did he?
That is.
Was it proven? Did you see the video? I don't think you
You
did.
saw the police report.
You didn't see a video, did you? I'd love to.
Point of order.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second.
I have one more question for
Go ahead.
Shelley, if you don't mind. Exactly what type of investment investigator attorney are you trying to acquire through your motion? At what cost range are you looking for and what time frame?
That is something I would like to lean on Jerry to advise us on as to what type, maybe a real estate attorney of some sort.
Real estate, civil, somebody that has some experience in litigation. Just in case we need to take it any farther.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Real estate would seem to make most sense.
And the time frame is as long as it takes them, well, I wouldn't say as long, but I'm not really sure because I don't know how long an investigation of that nature takes. Thoughts on that? Jerry?
I have no idea how much it would cost.
No, I said how long it would take.
It'd take probably, well, it's really hard to say. It depends on how much evidence they can get from individuals. But it's going to take at least a couple of months. I don't know how many days they would spend in those months, but
That's
you know.
okay.
Mr. Byrd, do we have a statute of limitation on this?
Oh, there is a statute of limitation. I have not investigated what it is. The contract is 5 years. Torts is 2 years now.
I think all this took place in March, so I don't think we've met that statute yet.
Okay. I think it's well worth the city's money. We was able to get some of it back after finding out that we was paying insurance on a building that we no longer own. So I believe that it is well worth the city's money. The residents, the city, I think is well worth it. Because if we let this go today, it'll be a second and a third, and it may not be this council, but it may be the one that come after us. And I think that the city should say no. Put a stop to it.
What are you hoping to accomplish out of it?
I'm hoping to accomplish, well, one of the big things I'm hoping to accomplish that anybody that was involved in the scam.
You're sure it was a scam?
No, well, I'm saying the allegation of a scam. that scammed this city out of what, almost $1 million building? I'm quite sure anybody in this room would have loved to have a family that would have been able to pay $10 for a building and got with other families and build it out. I'm quite sure anybody that, you know, had the knowledge to do it, they would have loved to have a over $1 million building. So what I hope to accomplish out of this, that a thorough investigation is done to find out if any conclusion, any scams, any conflict was of interest was involved with the sale of the Bickle building, and that we get our Bickle building back. It's ours. You scammed it. When I say you, whoever did the scamming, it belongs to us. The way you took it from us, it belongs to us. And if it belongs to the city of Avon, I can think of many things that the city of Avon Park could do with that building. Okay? And so to just allow it to just be scammed right out of our hands, behind our back, that is not acceptable. It is just not acceptable.
Do you not remember when it was offered for RFP?
I remember all of that, Mayor.
Do you not remember how long the city had it?
I remember all of that. Maybe the city would be more wiser now and use it for their own use now. We could probably use it. Yeah.
Okay, well, we have a motion in a second. Anything further? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire,
I'll abstain just for the appearance, not because Maria told me to, just to clarify. But it was already discussed since the allegations. I don't know of any conflict, but I'll abstain.
Councilmember Mercury,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Under the opinion of the city manager, I'm going to vote no.
Mayor Anderson,
I will abstain for obvious allegations are pointed at me.
Motion passes 2-1.
Okay.
I also have another motion I'd like to put out on the table that I'd like to make a motion that after the findings are returned and reviewed by this council, the city manager is to provide a detailed report to the Highlands County Board of County Commissioners and Leah Sauls if necessary. I would also like the city manager to have the Board of County Commissioners provide the city with documentation as to if their policies and procedures were followed on their end.
May I make a comment about the last vote, please?
I actually have there's a motion on the.
There's a
table.
motion. Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, got a second. Ask your question, please.
Deputy Mayor Bernard, you made the comment that it was on the advice of the city manager that you were voting.
Not the
No.
not the present city manager.
Okay,
The
thank you.
city manager at the time.
Oh.
Does that clarify for you, Dr. Kane?
Got it.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, on the second motion, anything further?
So is this motion just has to do with her making a report about something? It's not investigating anything?
It's already been, once it gets done, it comes to the city manager, we review it, and the findings go to the county.
That's what the motion is?
Yes.
Oh, it's public record. Obviously, it's going to go to the county.
That's fine. They can look on public record if they forget.
Okay. Do you still wish to make a motion?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Anything further? Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Councilmember McGuire,
I'll abstain because I'm not even clear what her motion is.
Councilmember Mercury,
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard,
Yes.
Mayor Anderson,
I will abstain as I believe it's pointed at me.
motion passes.
All right.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Rob Bullock, 100 East Main. I just wanted to follow up with what just occurred here.
Okay.
It would probably be in the city's best interest, that you probably go out for RFP or RFQ on whoever you select. This way, we can guarantee 100% that you guys are the ones picking the person that's going to do this review or this investigation of you guys. It would be up to the council for the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and repeat yourself so they
Okay.
can hear you.
So by going out to RFP, RFQ for an investigator, reviewer, whatever you want to call it, for this process, if you do that, then those qualifications, those people that would submit those qualifications would come before council. The council would choose who does the investigation rather than having it lie on the shoulders of management, staff, or a single council member making that decision, or the attorney making that decision for that matter. It kind of frees everybody of any type of cloud of collusion or any of that.
3 of us anyways, not all 5.
So I was making a recommendation in the best interest of everyone.
I'm just messing with you, Rob. Don't worry about it.
So, thank you.
All right. Regular updates from the city manager.
Are we gonna address that, Mayor?
Want to? Go ahead.
Should we, Shelley?
What's you and Shelly gonna do?
Okay, hold on.
There's a team going on.
Hold on.
I mean, it was me and Shelley who did the vote, Mayor, who the vote passed on me and Shelley. So that's why I'm asking Shelley.
Yes,
Should
we
be
can
a
do
motion and it
RFP.
should be a second. It shouldn't be a, what should we do, Shelley?
Okay, you know what? I will make a motion to go out for RFP for an attorney of the motion that I just mentioned.
Okay, is there a second? Miss Taylor, is there a second?
That is a second.
Okay, all right, we have a motion second. Any questions?
How was the previous motion resolved? Wasn't there a motion on the floor already?
That's already been voted on. This motion is for it to go out to RFP. So
And motion,
council-
I'll go ahead and repeat what the vote was. So, guys, if you could give me a minute, I'm trying to help them know where they're at. There was a motion to have, the findings reviewed by city council and then giving the authorization to the city manager to provide the details of that report to the Board of County Commissioners. And then to put in a public records request to the Board of County Commissioners for their policies. The motion was made by Councilmember McCure. The second was, Councilmember Taylor. Councilmember McGuire abstained. Councilmember Mercure and Taylor and Deputy Bernard
All right.
yayed, and then there was the abstention from the mayor.
And the new motion was to have it go out to RFP.
To RFP, which I have a motion and a second.
There. Any issue with that, Jerry? Okay. All right, anything further on that? Seeing none, please call a roll.
Councilmember McGuire. Councilmember Mercure.
Yes.
Councilmember Taylor.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Bernard.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
I'll abstain for same reasons as before.
Motion passed.
Okay. City manager report.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to give you an update that I received today about the veteran whose water bill you forgave on Twin Lakes Drive. The portable trailer will be delivered tomorrow. 2 storage pods for his property in the rooms that need to be rehabbed will be delivered on the 27th. Demo, mold remediation, and a new metal roof is anticipated to be installed and complete by March 10th. I do not have a completion date yet for the interior rehab, but he will be buttoned up hopefully by March 10th. The other update I have is on the Memorial Drive project that the county will be doing. As you know, the CSX rail crossing has been completed. The county is waiting on CSX to provide them for a date for when the flagmen for CSX will be out there to control the traffic for them. And then once they have that date, they'll let us know when they're going to start the project.
Okay. Any other updates? That concludes our agenda. Is there, oh, excuse me. Got 2 more signups. We got Robert Bistel or Bister is at 107 South Florida Avenue. Or excuse me, 109 South Florida Avenue. They still here? Okay. Had an issue about a meter in a sidewalk, looks like, but anyway, it's in the record. Then we had Miss Boone. This is at EE Sim Street. She want to talk about EE Sim Street? She's still here? Yep. All right. If you can, just give your name and address for the record and go ahead. You'll probably want to pull that microphone to your face there.
Helen Boone, 1012 South Lake Boulevard, Avon Park. Before I start talking, I need to ask you a question. ma'am.
Okay.
Why wasn't it put on the agenda?
They gave me this sheet and that's all I got.
No, but I'm saying, why wasn't it put on the
Ms.
agenda?
Boone?
Because it was discussed at the last meeting, and I really and truly thought that it was very important.
Ms.
And I
Boone?
see it's nowhere on the agenda.
I think she's got an answer
I
for
can
you.
explain that. What you submitted to me was a public comment for public participation. So what I do in return is when I receive those, I submit them to the mayor to be discussed during whatever portion of that agenda is. So what was on there was not on the agenda, so I submitted it.
No problem. I was just curious, and I wanted to know, so I asked, yes.
Are you wanting to talk about the potential renaming?
Exactly.
Okay, so isn't that coming back before us at some point?
That's why I was wondering why it wasn't on the agenda.
It will come back for an official agendizing. The county has to go through their steps first before they'll bring it back to us. That was just informational the last time.
Do I need to wait until then or talk about it now? Wait until then?
Yeah, I mean, you can talk
Yes,
about it now, but
ma'am.
it will be an
I can
agenda
wait
item.
Until then?
Yeah.
Oh, it'll hold.
Okay,
It'll hold.
got it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, anything else for the good of the city? Seeing none, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, please.
Seeing no opposition, we are adjourned.